Hi guys, Jason here from Trojan Photography, and today we're going to do a review on the outdoor photography gear lens cover. So if you've watched my videos before and stuff, you might have seen I've already done a review on this product from Outdoor Photography Gear. Now I heard they came out with a new one, and after talking to them I got one sent out for review and stuff. So I've got it on my Sigma 150 to 500 here, and behind it I've got the old one which I used to have on it. So I want to do a little review on it. I've used it for a couple of months now, and I think I've really got a good idea of it, what I like, what I don't like, and I want to do a little comparison, see what they've improved on from the existing designs. So if you've seen my review of it, and I'll leave a link in the description below, as well as a link to my comparison between the Outdoor Photography Gear version to the Lenscoat version, which I highly recommend you view. You already know I do love this product. It's really well done, really well built, and Outdoor Photography Gear have outdone themselves again in improving this newer version of it. And they've sort of addressed all those most of those little niggly things that I personally had issues with, and I think other people did too. So let's get into the review. So the first thing you'll notice is they've kept the nice stitching around the edge. So the existing one, we've got nice stitching around the edge of it. And same with this, we've got nice stitching on the end of each piece. So this breaks down into individual pieces just like this one. And on the end of each one, it's got nice sewn up, as you can see in this close up there. This stops fraying, which was one of my biggest gripes with the Lenscoat version. It stops fraying, it still looks nice, and it sits comfortably. So with the new version, I think they've sort of kept the same size of it. It fits really nicely, it feels really snug. The material on the outside, I've got a bit of camo on this one. Looks really nice, feels really nice. It's got enough, it's tactile enough that I can still hold it comfortably. All the rings turn really nicely around it, and it feels really good. Segments are really well designed, and as you can see here, there are no gaps with the black in there that you can see, so that's great. So with the old one, it used to be reversible. So camo one side, black on the other. All of them had some sort of camo, some sort of pattern on one side, and black reversible, and that was one of their marketing ploys about it. It was reversible. And as you can tell if you've watched my old video, the biggest problem with that reversible thing was it was very slippery. So my biggest issue was the lens hood, of course, and when you turn it around, you put it on, and you put it in the bag, and the inside of the material is slippery. With the old one, it used to slide off. Same thing, if I slid it out of my bag, it'd slide off. So with their new design, and I'll take this off, and you can see by the way I've got to take this off that it's definitely not slippery anymore. So it's no longer reversible. It is black on the other side, but it has a nice grippy textured material, as you can see in this close-up here. So that is a huge, huge help now, that I don't have to worry about pulling out of my bag and the whole outside of the lens hood sliding off or sliding the other way, and then having to replace it. And it's not hard, because this is the old one. I just put it over and it was on again, but then I put it in the bag and it slid down. So that was a huge issue, and I'm so happy they addressed this issue. Just take this off. As you can see, that was hard to get off. With the new design and a more textured finish on the inside, it is no longer reversible, which didn't bother me because I didn't really want to make it black, as it was already black. But it stays on, and none of it slides. None of it at all slides at all, which is great for that. So that is a huge positive, huge, huge positive. They've still got the nice thick neoprene, closed cell neoprene inside, so it's going to make it a bit more weather resistant. It means water's not going to soak in or sit inside the material, so it's not going to soak into your lens eventually. It doesn't make it waterproof, but it does help if there's a bit of spray about, or you're in the misty morning or afternoon or fog or something. So it's going to help there with that. So that's great. As far as the viewports and stuff go, they still had the stitching on the outside, which doesn't look as nice, I personally think, but I think they've used a thinner plastic, or they've just used a better quality plastic. It's a bit thinner. It's a bit thinner. This is the old one, this is the new one. It's definitely a bit thinner than the existing one, which I don't think is going to be a huge issue. It's not going to rip anytime soon. I've used it pretty rigorously and I haven't had any problems with it. But with the new plastic they've put on there, I found it's a lot easier for me to change all the settings, manual focus, autofocus, AI on, and all that stuff. It's just a lot easier, which is awesome. So highly recommended for that. The other thing they've improved, which I had a huge gripe about with the 150 to 500, I hadn't found any other problems with the other ones, but I haven't got all the lenses, so I couldn't tell you. But they didn't have a little port for the lock. So this has huge zoom creep, obviously, because it's such a long lens and it zooms out so far. So Sigma has a zoom lock on it, so you can lock it in at 150 so it doesn't creep out. But outdoor photography gear forgot to put a little port on that, so I didn't know what was wrong with that. But with this new design, they have put that port on, which is great. You can see it, you flick it across that way, and it zooms out. Put it in, lock it in, we're done. That's it. So that's awesome. They've still got the little viewport on the top for the focus. Not to say many people would use it, but you know, it's always great, and it's a function you want to see maybe sometimes, so that's good. So that's the positives. I think they've improved really well on getting a textured material and stuff so it doesn't slip. Now, there's one big downfall which I've found with this design, which I don't know if they've realized, but textured material is great on all of it. I wish they didn't put the textured material on the base. This bottom section, which has the lens collar, which has the collar on it, so I can put it on a tripod, on a monopod or something, so it can support the lens so you don't ruin your camera and stuff. Now with a big lens like this, you're going to put that on your tripod or your monopod or something, you'll loosen this off and you'll spin the whole camera and lens to go to portrait and landscape mode, as opposed to flicking out the whole camera on the side and stuff. Because you're mounted from this, it's a bit easier just to turn it, keep center of gravity over the center of whatever device you're using, as opposed to flipping it off center and potentially tipping your tripod or monopod or whatever you're using. But they've put grippy textured material on the inside of this, so if I loosen this off, you should be able to spin it. And you can see it spins, and I'll show you a close-up of it, but it drags. And it gets really hard because it's grippy around there, so it does grip a bit. Now I've found over time, just by using it a bit and stuff, I think I've stretched it a little bit. I think I did that on purpose because I pulled it off and tried to stretch it a bit. And it probably didn't stretch it too much because it is great quality neoprene, so it won't stretch too badly. But as you can see, it's very hard to turn around. So I think they have designed that back piece a little bit looser, which does help with it. And you can turn it, it's not as if it's stuck there and it's not going to move, as opposed to something like the focus or the zoom ring, which you definitely don't want any slip on between the material and the actual lens, and they are perfect. And same with the material on the stationary bits. I'm trying to turn it and they just won't spin. So I think they have made the back end a bit looser and stuff. It probably would have been a great idea just to keep with the softer neoprene inside material on the back end. That way you can just spin it really easy, really fast. So if you're out there shooting birds or cars or family portraits or something, you can just flick it through, tighten down the lock so it stays there again, and you can keep shooting, as opposed to sort of a really rough, hard twist around for that. So that is my only negative, but in saying that, I'd much prefer the grippy material over the neoprene inside. Although you do get two sides with the existing design, the grippy material makes all the difference, especially with the lens hood and stuff. It doesn't slip, which was a bit of an issue. More of a cosmetic issue than anything else, but a bit of an issue to me. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed this review. If you've got any other questions, leave them in the comments below. If you want to see my other review on the existing outdoor photography gear, so you get a bit more of an in-depth view on how this design is and how I really think it is, links in the description below, as well as the comparison between the existing outdoor photography gear stuff and the Lenscoat, so check that out below. Any questions, leave them in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, tons of videos and reviews coming out, as well as the ones that are already out there. You can also find me on Facebook and on my website, links in the description below, guys. Thanks.